Hi, Robert Urban here. I'm laying down my story in video form at my family's request. So, for those of you that are interested or whatever, just curious, here I go. What I want to talk today about is what I call my farmer reaction and having learning a lesson, a life lesson from John Allen, and having a lot of poop in my life. So, here we go. When I was growing up, at about the age of 12, we went to work for some farmers, basically starting out to put up hay bales. So it was a four-man job, and we would put up a lot of hay bales. They'd weigh around probably 60 pounds, and you'd have to lift them several times, end up throwing them up in the stacks in the barn. And that's just the way it was. Well, John Allen was the farmer, and his son Walter had graduated from Ohio State University, and they were trying to make some changes. And we would get that impression, as I remember, because every once in a while, John and Walter would have kind of a discussion about changes that were made or need to be made. But they were wonderful people, both of them, very easygoing, never lost their temper, extremely kind to us, and they just were gentle people. So one day we were all set to put in another, I think maybe the first harvest of hay, or yeah, I think it was the second harvest. And we came to work, and John said, "Tommy, come with me." And it was a four-man job. And he said, "We're going to go look for a ram in the Amish country, and these guys are going to do the hay." So a four-man job went to a two-man job. Okay. So I rode with John. We spent the day, sunny, wonderful day in the Amish country, eating at different farmer's house, the pie and the whatever lunch. And when we came back at around 5:30 with a ram, Jim and Walter, my brother was very physical. Walter was very physical. I was physical if you needed to be, but not as physical as Jim. And Jim loved to roust about work, and he just liked that. And so did Walter. When we came back, they were literally closing the barn door. The barn was full, and the barn door was scraping against the hay bales as they closed it. And he said they put up something, as I remember, 610 bales. Now imagine these are handled several times. So that was impressive. And John was praising them and telling what a good job, and he showed them the ram, and that was a good job. And so he walked me over to the truck, 55 Chevrolet, half-ton truck, and John said to me under his breath, so atypical. John said to me, "Look at those two fools. They worked all day putting up the hay. You and I drove around in a truck and eating good food," and on he went. And he said, "And the pay's the same. Oh yeah, I'll give your brother a couple bucks because he did work really hard. But just remember, Tommy, the pays can be the same for hard work and brain work." And that's so true. Thank you, John. And the second thing is they had a hen house, and that hen house, or a chicken house, and they raised broilers, if they called them in the day, meat chicken. And one of the chickens overnight got up into the water spout and turned the water on. And we came, this huge uh, broiler house. The bottom floor was flooded, and that's where the poop lives. And we had to take shovels, grain shovels, you know, those big shovels, take them up to the manure spreader and dump them in one at a time, my brother and I. And we had a manure spreader, if you can picture what they used to be, and we'd have to put hay in the back so that it wouldn't run out, and then take it up into the field. And it was a hilly, and we'd go down into the creek and up into the hills, and we'd have to go slow, and then we'd take it and then dump it out. Uh, and when you go down the hills and up, it would slosh. And so this stuff would come up and hit us, and so we were covered with chicken poop. Those are my two Allen stories. John Allen was a boyhood friend of Clark Gable, only came up a couple times, born in Cadiz, Ohio. John was a lovable man. Walter was a wonderful man, and that's my story. That brain power is it can be as rewarding as physical work, and that so typifies it. My brother and I, how we look at things. Thanks, John.